Gotta clear the old throat. All right. Now we were GoPros is set up, and now we shall set up our vertical stream for our weird people who only like watching videos in vertical. It's okay. I got my weirdness too. Alright, set up the... Watch me work. Public. Yeah, see if you do the GoPro feed, which is on the main channel, you don't get ads. But if you do vertical, I punish you. You get ads. So I can make all the $2 that I get from it. No, it's not made for kiddos. Thumbnail. No. Just thumbnail. Take thumbnail. So slow. Go live. Hell yeah. Bluetooth on. Check. Set that up. Alright. So now the weird people can see what's going on. All the normal people are on the GoPro, all the weird people on the vertical. What else do I want to do? No, that's it. That is it. That is it. That is it. You need to stop flagging and start working. All right. So first off is we were doing a 2018. Let me read my work order. Yeah, 2018 Forester with 170,000 miles on it. I want gloves. Customer came in, said they had a death wobble. Death wobble. They Googled that. That's a Jeep thing, by the way. It's not a Subaru thing. Don't hate me. Customer wrote it on the work order. Said they had a death wobble. Basically means is that they get going down the road about 20, 30 miles an hour. They hit a bump and then the car starts. That's our problem. Normally it's control arm bushings that do that. But gave the old tire a good shake and the hub is separating. Not a problem there. That's easy work. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fix that up really nice. I was gonna go with a full cordless tool set day, but my 1/2-inch impact has walked away. By walk away, it means that my short-term memory sucks. And I don't know where I said it last. It happens a lot. It's a medical problem. GoPro people, look up here. Good. Yeah. It's not a you problem, it's a me problem. Too many concussions. So that's why I have the little Ring cameras in my work area. So I can like have flashbacks and look where I put stuff. Saved me a few times. So if y'all don't have that kind of setup in your shop for your personal area, highly do recommend it. Highly do recommend it. Because I was building an engine one day, and of course, you know, I went home for the day. Oh, what the hell? What the hell? Oh, this makes me mad. Come look at this. GoPro people get to look first. Look at that. Look at that. You see where the steak is at? You see where it's at? Someone's been in here. This has never been in our shop, but somebody's been in there. They reused the friggin' axle nut, and then they didn't even bother staking it. All right. Weird iPhone people, you're up next. That's bad. Okay? That's bad. That means that this axle nut came off for whatever reason. Somebody reused it, and they didn't stake it. So what is happening? Most likely, this axle nut kind of walked out a little bit, wasn't tightened correctly. That's what gave that dude that problem. Not cool. But in this world of mechanical work, you got mechanical work that costs a lot, and you got mechanical work that doesn't cost a lot. The rule of thumb is you get what you paid for. All right? Now, shall we do a thought experiment? Because you're here, let's do a thought experiment. I'm curious. I'm also like 2 teas, like really excited worth of caffeine. Now, using a torque wrench to go like loosening something up to inspect torque, that's not how that stuff works, folks. But you know, I got a calibrated Python. I think that'll do. So I'm going to shove a pry bar into the vent of the rotor, and let's just see how it feels. Not tight at all. These are supposed to be 150 foot-pounds. That was like barely tight. I think somebody just hand threaded this on and forgot to torque it. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Shall we do another thought experiment? Let's do another thought experiment. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take back that somebody reused it. I'm gonna take it back that somebody reused it, because now under closer inspection, looking at that stake, I want to show you the stake mark. And I have some axle nuts that I just took off another car. They might be over here in the garbage pile. So they're there. Yeah, I see them. In the bottom of the trash. All right, so I keep used axle nuts for things. Okay, GoPro first. See that stake? That's a screwdriver. That's a screwdriver mark. You should not be staking these nuts with screwdrivers. Screwdrivers, they're not designed for that. Let me show you what you have to be using. You need a blunt face chisel, all right? You can make this on your own, or you can buy it for a lot of money, or you can just make it on your own. Go get yourself a regular big fat chisel out of a cheap chisel kit like the Horrible Freight, okay? And then you just grind it down to a big 1/4 inch wide blunt tip. That's what you stake this stuff with. And the reason why you do that is now you get this nice wide indentation, all right? This was nice and deep in there. You can see how it flattened through compared to this other one. So what happened here was, most likely, the stake mark was made. The stake mark was made with an inferior choice of tool, which didn't give it the perfect divot that it needed to not walk off. That is infuriating. Is this even an OE nut? Yeah, it is. Okay, thought experiment time. I'm gonna put this sucker back on. This could have gotten somebody killed. Keep that in mind. I would have rather have had this person impacted on. This is why I also kind of get on people for working super fast. I'm like, stay focused, don't cut corners. All right. So I'm set up for 150 now. Oh, look at that. I'm pulling that bearing back together. I can feel it as I do it. This is awesome. All right, pretty good. So I can't prove too much here. I mean, the wobble's definitely gone. That's for sure. But I can definitely say that, see, the mark is, here's the axle mark right here where it should have been staked. Here's the old mechanics mark. It's going to be about a good 20 degrees off, going in a counterclockwise motion. So definitely this axle nut did loosen at least half a turn to a turn and a half based on where I found it. Now, cool, man. So what I was doing with my thought experiment was, as I said to myself, I wonder if I tighten it, will that stake mark line up with the axle mark? Doesn't look like it was. Okay, because again, it came up short. It needed a little bit more turn. But I have to tell you this, because the hub is already kind of separated a little bit and I'm crushing it back together, that's adding resistance to the torque. Overall, it's trash. So if you're doing this and you're being like, man, I just grand slam everything home, I don't torque anything, there's no need to, torquing things makes me lose time. This is the repercussion. And folks, the automotive repair business, not all people are trained. Not all people are trained the same, okay? Oh, somebody likes me. Somebody threw some anti-seize in there. It's the gray stuff, but that's okay. Not all people are trained the same. Some go to a trade school, some just get on-the-job training. And that on-the-job training is either from somebody who did go to a trade school or somebody who's just been doing the job long enough that they have what is called seniority. But if you're a shop owner, I really want you to participate in that chat there. Be honest, okay? I'm just cleaning all the grease that blew off the bad hub, okay? Be honest with me. Do you randomly go out and watch your people work? Because as a service manager or a shop owner, you need to understand how repairs are done. And if you don't, then you need to not be around your technicians and you need to hire somebody who does know how repairs are done correctly. You need to be watching your express team. Is my express team torquing lug nuts correctly? You need to be watching your engine builders. Are your engine builders following best practices? Okay? Like, if you're still rebuilding engines with red rags, you're wrong. You're wrong. I can't tell you how many engines over the last 10 years that I've gone back into from other shops, and I've found half a red rag sitting in the oil pickup because all that red rag lint just worked its way through the engine, clogged the oil pickup, and just broke the engine all over again. And you can bet that that person was pissed. And that shop came over here and threw a flurry about it. Like, you throwing us under the bus? No, I didn't throw you under the bus. That person who red ragged this engine sold you out. Well, that guy's gone. Now my problem, it's got your business name written all over it. You need to be vetting your people better. God damn it, folks. Where the hell? Oh, here it is. I'm looking for this. It's a fun little special tool from Snap-on. But it's a 17 millimeter wobble with a shallow in, so it can get these bracket bolts out without smacking your socket into the strut. It's pretty nice. It's only about 70 bucks. It is so worth it. I'll give you guys come on, I'll show you. I'll be nice. GoPro people first. All right, so we're fighting that bolt right there, and a regular socket would clash into this bolt. So you got this one right here that slides on there like that. Pretty cool, huh? I wish they made a whole set of those, to be honest. I really do. I've told Snap-on, just make a whole damn set. All right, weird vertical people, you next. So there's that bracket bolt right here on, if we put a traditional socket, it won't line up right. So you have to use a box wrench to get in there. But this Snap-on special tool one, see how it clears everything? Super cool. If you do a lot of Subarus, it's totally worth it. It's on the Snap-on truck under it's in the Snap-on catalog under special tools. You can honestly just go to the search engine, type in Subaru. There's only about 2 or 3 things that are just for Subarus. But nobody else is making this. This is a Snap-on one-off. I was so happy when that came out. Especially for all those rust cars that I've been getting. I don't get them too much anymore. But years ago, I got some. So we just take this take that brake bracket off. We get our caliper hanger, which is no longer on the side. I hate. Not even gonna go into it. I'm gonna go into it. I know where to find it, and that person's not here today, and that's okay. We'll have words later. Bungees to the rescue! Go, go, bungee rangers! All right. As the ladies say, good enough. Gotta give it a double wrap. There we go. Boing, boing, boing. All right, so I take the ball joint out so I can get my axle out, took the bracket off, so now I can get my rotor off. My rotor's not gonna come off nice, so we're going to try first using the bolt extractor. And you're gonna get one good try putting the bolts in here. All right. And I'm just, if you're batting 1,000, getting rotors off that way, hallelujah. Some people can't use them due to their locations. Not a problem. Here's my step-by-step. I'll give it a little bit of the PP oil, penetrating oil. That's PP oil. Squirt it in yield bolt holes. Then a little bit of shock and awe there. Just to kind of mechanically break some stuff loose. Because again, if these bolts, they don't want to do the job, they don't want to do the job. And they'll strip out those threads in that rotor. Very nice. Started a little on one side. Started a little on the other side. We got her. No problems. Oh my gosh. There's anti-seize on the lug nuts. Or on the studs. There's anti-seize on the studs. Folks, you can't do that. Dude, that's like written straight on the bottle of anti-seize. Do not put on studs. Ay, ay, ay. This is just straight up giving mechanics a bad name. I don't like it. Okay, there's a 10 millimeter holding this wheel speed sensor. Pretty easy to get out. And I'm gonna try and get it loose first with a hand tool. I don't like to use the impacts just yet. Reason being is sometimes that bolt can stick to the plastic coating of your wheel speed sensor. Because there is a metal collar in there, all right? So sometimes it can just get a little bit rusty, stick in there, and if your impact drags that along, then you can crack the wheel speed sensor, and now you're out like $200. Or you're waiting on parts, whatever the scenario you wanna come up with. I know that we hate doing things with hand tools nowadays. They still serve a purpose. Okay, on the back of the hub, we got 4 14 millimeter bolts. There you go, come on out. Two out of 4. Why is there red Loctite on them? Someone who doesn't know how to do their job spraying around with this stuff. Not terribly excited about that. Let's see if she wants to come off with a little bit of tap, tap, taparoo action. Everybody still in frame? Yeah, we're still in frame. Hell yeah. How are we doing? Oh, see, this vertical is doing good. 319. Only 12 thumbs up? Don't treat me like that. All right. She was nice. Still a little bit rusty, but we did a-okay. We still gotta get this metal plate off. Ta-da! So our bearing just blew out because there was that axle was slipping back and forth in there like that. So it was just pulling the inside out. Sucks. If you're So we're fortunate in this situation because this is a hub assembly that's going to come with its own spindle, so we don't have to pull the spindle out, and we don't have to press the hub out and press the hub in like other cars. Ford, Subaru used to have it a long time ago. I'm glad we switched up to this. Anyhow, moving along. If you do have a system where you have to separate the spindle and then press in a bearing, make sure you mark the magnetic encoder side correctly. Okay, if you're getting the parts out of the box, some part companies, not all, some are nice, and they have a little sticker here that says go towards speed sensor. The reason why they do that is because they're getting sick and tired of you folks putting them in the car and then saying that the bearing's bad, and you take it back to the store, because once when they go in, they're in, and when you take them out, you pretty much destroy them. You can't take it back out. You got to get a new bearing. Friggin' sucks. So I think everybody who presses in bearings over the course of time, you're going to learn this lesson once, and that's all it's going to take. So inspect it, look for the side with the magnetic encoder. I always mark mine. In this case, because it's a Subaru, it's a hub assembly, you can't get it backwards, but in situations where you can, I always mark it. The reason why I mark it is because, yes, I made that mistake once. Secondly is, when it gets hot and heated in the shop, or you're hungry and you're working through a lunch hour, or you're thirsty, dehydrated, whatever the scenario is, it's easy to make simple mistakes like that. And when you have to go to the boss man and say, hey, I need another $100 hub because I put it in backwards, and if we press it out, it's going to break, he's going to take it out of your ass. Okay, he's going to dock your pay. So that's why I always have these little pro tips, so that way that when you're doing this professionally, these mistakes don't happen to you. Okay? Is somebody going to make fun of you? Probably. But you know what? That's only cursing them to make that mistake. I guarantee it. That's how the world works. You get on somebody's case for being an overachiever and taking the time to do stuff right, guess what happens? The world comes back on them. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but when it does, it comes back. I will tell you this much though, working with third-party parts from auto parts stores like AutoZone, O'Reilly's, this is different for every store location. But if you buy a bearing from them that you have to press in, and there's a problem with it mechanically or the magnetic encoder, you need to take photos. You need to take photos of that bearing installed. And the reason why you need to do that is so that store doesn't ding your account. See, the store is going to let you just have one. If you're a high buyer, they're going to let one slide every once in a while, okay? And that is a nice practice to have, but you know, to protect yourself from getting that mystery write-up where they make a note that they're just doing you a solid and it might have been your fault, that keeps them from doing that. Put it on correctly, Joe. Come on. First I had the shield upside down. Now I got the bearing upside down. There we go. Thankfully, this is keyed. I'm sorry, it's not keyed, but there is a specific bolt pattern. The two bolts at the top are a little more narrow than the bolts at the bottom. Also pay very close attention. You see how this backing plate, two perfect circles, then you got two oval circles. So that means that these two bolts you want to align first, because these is going to be your sloppy ones. So somebody was thinking about us and they gave us a gimme. These Subaru wheel bearing assemblies, the only hard part about doing them is when they get stuck coming out. Sometimes you just got to have a couple of extra hammers laying around to bang them out. There's some really good tools out there on the market that do a pretty good job. One is called the hub tamer. That used to be kind of a unique tool about 10 years ago, but now there's so many Chinese knockoffs you can pick them. What used to cost 99 bucks, you can now get for like $20. I don't know if the metal is the same, but the hub tamer just looks like somebody took a 2-inch receiver hitch and it's got bolt patterns for your hub, and you just bolt it to your hub and you can start banging the hub. Now the reason why a lot of people hate that tool is they always say, oh, it never does anything, it just rips the spindle out, which is partially true. If you get a little too excited with it, it'll just rip spindles out. But when I see people using it, you know what they do? They just hit here and they go bang, they go down with force, down with force, down with force. But you're constantly just pulling it out like this. You hit it down, now bring your counter swing up and straighten it out. I've seen people just wailing on hubs with that hub tamer with like 5-pound concrete busters. You're like, y'all killing me. And I show up and I was like, I got two 2-pound smithing hammers, and I'm just sitting there just going dink, 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 dink. Walks right out. I let them say what they want. You loosened it. They get their cracks in, but just think about it, how you're pulling it out. Just gotta run these bolts in. Very good. Before I forget, I'm gonna go ahead and get my speed sensor going up in there. Again, hand tool only to tighten this. Too many times I see people break these speed sensors with their cordless tools, zipping that 10 mil down, and they crack the sensor. All right. These cordless tools, they're amazing. They do give us speed where we need the speed. There's times when you just got to slow it down a little bit. Speed sensors are really expensive. Got a message on the computer I need to respond to. Give me just a second, and we will be back at it in no time. All right, so we're back. All right, we're gonna do our torque on these. Get them down to about 60 pounds. I know a lot of people just love slamming them in with their impacts, but for me, I'm a torque guy. And I say that for the reason being that we usually have these long extensions. We got the wobbles on there. That's great for ripping stuff apart, but put it together correctly, because that wobble and that extension steals a lot of power from you. And I tell you, like, the best thing that I do is just get yourself a little 3/8 beam. All right, I got the Tectons. I like the Tectons. You can get the Icons. I don't give a damn. These are just my people. But all my common torques, I just inscribe them on the side of it. Okay, I got drain plugs, I got hub bolts, so on and so forth. And because it's a beam, I can leave it at the torque that I want. Think about it that way. Same thing with my my 1/2 inch. Okay, all my really common torques that I do all the time, differential plugs, lug nuts, I just put all those really common specs right there on the side, so that way I can quickly reference them. And that's one of the reasons why I have the Tecton over the Icon. Is the Icon, because I engrave mine, I don't, the Sharpie wears off or brake cleaner takes it off, so I have mine engraved with a Dremel. I have fancy handwriting, by the way. Took 4 years of calligraphy in high school. Anywho, I told Tecton what I wanted to do, and they said, no, that sounds like a really good idea. Go ahead and do it. They said, as long as you don't penetrate the metal with your engraver, we're going to call it good, and we'll still honor warranty. That beam wrench has served me well. Okay, that ball joint needs to get up in its home. So to get in its home, Mr. Deadblow here. It's my best friend. I'm using that instead of my big ball peen hammer, because one, I don't want to dent this control arm, okay? I dent that control arm, I throw this dude's alignment off. That's not cool. Secondly is, I've seen people trying to hammer those in with these big metal hammers, and they break the welds. Again, not cool, man. And there's enough anti-seize still left on that bolt. That dude loaded it up. Pretty nuts. What does this person want? I'm getting message to about a write-up I made. Sorry, I'm so sorry for this. But the shop takes priority. I will answer their question really quick and be back to you all. All right, cool. So we're done answering that question. I shouldn't get bothered anymore. Just another third-party insurance car. Poor feller. Don't know how that's gonna work out. Again, really important, torquing that correctly. If you over torque it, you can ruin that seat that ball joint has to go into. See, when I worked in the Rust Belt, I always pushed this message because people, they hated taking the time to put anti-seize on. I mean, like, you guys know you're going to be back in here in like a year. You're only helping yourself or each other by doing this. So I don't understand the narrative by not doing it. Because then you don't have to all complain about working on rust, that, and this. I mean, should the manufacturer do it to begin with? Hell yeah. They really should. Let's do something really cool right here. Show off a tool. Shouldn't need to do this, but I'll show you anyways. It should be in my quick bin. Annoying. Which means it found its way over to another drawer. There she is. You shouldn't be in that catch-all. Right here. This is an OTC brake pad spreader. I don't even know what the tool number on this is anymore. It's all rubbed off. But anyhow. So this tool is specifically designed for when you pull off your caliper with your bracket and the pads are still in, and now you got to slide it over the rotor. Now, those brake pads, they're already compressed against the rotor, and it's going to be a tight fit. And I've seen some people just slam them on and crack the pads, break the pads, cause all kinds of problems. You get these, you slide them in there, and you can open them up. So that tool is going to allow me to compress the pistons just a little bit so I can slide that brake pad assembly on. Fantastic little tool. It's like 30 bucks. You see how I did it there. You don't need it all the time. It's like once you get used to doing this, you kind of get a feel for how to put them on, but there's times when it is necessary. Now this just recently had a brake job done. I can see because these pads are fairly new. Yeah, they just keep messaging me. An inspector's gonna come out tomorrow. That's fine, I don't care. What do I need to have ready for him? Oh, that's gonna suck. Sorry, this is intriguing stuff. Not too happy about it, but it's gonna happen. That's gonna be fun. All right, so a little confidential information I can't share too much with you, but I can just say that when that inspector shows up, he's going to be a big waste of time. You wonder why I hate your third-party warranties. Basically, I got somebody who doesn't understand how to do their job correctly, and I'm going to have to baby them. Because my notes were maybe just too specific. Not my problem that I did a proper test. But basically, I'm trying to just help this customer out as much as possible and get a complete replacement for them of their engine, because their engine grenaded, and this place just wants to just piece it together with hopes and dreams. Like they're like, oh, you can fix the cylinder head, you don't have to buy a new cylinder head. Like, are you serious? Like, the engine blew up, it's shock shrapnel, it's so much cheaper to just get a cylinder head and put it together, but they literally want me to tear it down and send it to a machine shop for appraisal, for repair. I don't know why these third-party companies think that these cars with all these aluminum components can be fixed like it's the 1950s. Like, it's not, this stuff isn't made out of iron anymore. And when everything was built with iron, yeah, there was a lot more leniency. You could really, you could do an honest rebuild. But now, the tolerances on these engines, they're so friggin' tight, and they're so specific. You can't just do willy-nilly rebuilds anymore. And that's what they want. Like, we'll just try and fix it. And the reason why I don't want to do a partial repair is that means that car is going to be living here in this shop while we wait for parts. Secondly is the customer thinks that we're dragging our feet. Like, we're not. It's your bureaucratic third-party insurance. That rotor's going to be loose until I step on the brake pedal, okay? So, yeah, so they want to see the crank. They want to send somebody out to do measurements on the crank. They want to validate the tools that I'm using. So, you know what? If I find half your engine in the oil pan and the rod and piston's gone, you just need a new block. That's the truth of the matter. And they want to know why it can't be rebuilt. I don't know. Maybe because machining it is going to be stupid expensive, and it's going to machining it and finding aftermarket pistons and aftermarket rings to fit the overbore. It's going to be way more expensive. Not to mention that no other shop is going to, not even our local engine shop is playing ball with these people. And that's kind of where I'm just like, tell the person that we're not working with their company, and they're just going to have to find another shop. I'd rather put in a used engine than continue to play with these people. And by the way, if a third party tries to make you put in a used engine, you got to reevaluate the quote, all right? Because that used engine that shows up, you have to do an inspection on it, and you should be charging at least 2 hours. 2 hours to, at least for these Subaru engines, I'll charge 2 hours. But if you're doing like anything like a Pennstar engine, like a Chrysler engine, where the plenum covers up a lot of the spark plug tube wells, you're going to have to charge more, obviously. Let's just get to the point. So I'm charging at least 2 or 3 hours, depending on the engine. I want to pull all the spark plugs out. I want to take my bore scope. I want to look at the cylinders. I want to make sure it's not rusted in there. I don't know how long this damn thing's been sitting. Okay? Secondly is, I want to do a leak down test on it. Some of these engines, they sit so long that the rings, they don't even want to seat anymore. Yeah, I put oil in there to try and help it out. But these third-party insurance, all they're looking to do is just find a way to get out of paying the correct amount of money to fix your car correctly. I had a whole talk about this last time, so you'll have to dig up one of my old streams. But there are, coming down, there are third-party companies that will purposely not pay out, and they don't care about you. They are third-party insurance companies. Got to make sure this brake machine in the rear is clear. We're clear. So a lot of these third-party insurance companies that send you mailers and they call you up, okay, and they're saying, hey, for only $2,000, we can offer you a warranty on your vehicle for 2 years, 20,000 miles. And you're like, hell yeah. You need to get that company's business name. You need to ask for their Better Business Bureau ID. Most of them are going to hang up on you, or they're not going to reply back to you, or they're not going to know what it is. They're not going to know what the Better Business Bureau is. They're not going to know whatever it is. You want that number, and then you want to go to the Better Business Bureau's website, and you want to make sure that they're registered. Then you want to look and see how new is this company. Because what happens is, let's say we got insurance company ABC. ABC was created in 2015. And after 2 years of not paying out claims correctly and getting a lot of customer complaints, they bury the company, and the same people who invest in this open up another one under another name. This happens. And they'll keep doing this and do this and do this because they're of a mindset that they want to be collecting payments from people that don't have any problems with it. So that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to find. They just want to sell. They want to sell their warranty to as many people as they can, with the hopes that only a very small percentage of them are going to use them, and those that do use them, they're not going to, or they're not going to pay out appropriately, or they're going to waste your time. Yeah. Yes, you're playing around. It's getting towards the end of the day. Hell yeah. When it gets towards the end of the day, the jokes get weird. People start Morse coding with car horns. I'm just stepping on the brake pedal to make sure it's firm, and it is. Hey, let's do some rear brakes now. So I want you to be careful with these third parties. There are good ones, there are bad ones, and there are ones in between. That's all I can say. But just be wary of the ones that bounce around. There was one so bad. So there was a 1999 Subaru RS that was at a mom and pop shop, and I wanted to go check it out, and I wanted to see if I could buy it from them cheaper than they wanted to sell it for. Folks, they had this beat the shit 99 RS. Doesn't have a turbo in it. It's got 200,000 miles. The paint's crappy. The interior's crappy. The car's crappy. $8,000. Now they know what they're selling. They're selling a car. They're selling a car that is a fanboy car. All right, it's a really good looking body style. It's got a lot of fun body kits for it. So this is obviously not Kelly Blue Book value. This is a black market value. Needless to say, I was trying to work with the owner and offering him cash. I says, like, I got $4,500 cash. That's what I think this car is worth, because obviously the engine's garbage, the transmission's garbage, the body's, like, it didn't have any dents, which is great. But I was telling him, I was like, this is like, I'm buying this purely to build into something. And I'm not too sure what you bought it for, unless you're going to show me that sale receipt. But there's nothing that justifies this car being almost $7,000 over Blue Book value. But they didn't care. They were willing to sit on it. That's how they are. He didn't want to move. But during the sales pitch, because I let them do their sales pitch, trying to be polite. This dude, who had like the worst dandruff in the world, it was disgusting. Cornrows and dandruff don't go together. And Axe body spray. Cornrows, dandruff, and Axe body spray. Disgusting. Anywho, he's trying to tell me about their awesome third-party warranty that they sell with these cars in case there's any problems, which I was blown away that any company would want to put a warranty on a car that is 10, 20, going on 30 years old. with almost 200,000 miles. It means that they really just don't care who they're selling this to. I wanted a box wrench, but I'm not going to walk to the other box. I'll build something here. So he's talking about it, and I says, hey, didn't you call it this company name? He says, oh yeah, those are the old pamphlets. I immediately triggered going, yep, they've already been flagged for not paying out claims, so they've already reshelled their company. I was like, dude, these people are scam artists. Like, this claim is not going to pay. I was like, I can't believe you're honestly selling this to people. I've been to seminars where they explain this. If you ever go to any of these tech training seminars, they have tech training for advisors, mechanics, technicians, programmers, managers. And one of the speakers was talking about these, and this is where I got a lot of this information from. He tells the crowd. He says, how they work these is they appear to be legit. You purchase a claim, it has so many years, so many miles, you use that claim. It has so many years and so many miles, but the people who own the company tell the agents on the other end, the adjusters, if you want to call them that, only pay out so much a year. Okay, so they're only told to pay out so much based on how many new memberships that they sell, new warranties that they sell. If they don't sell enough, then they're told to drag ass and cause problems with claims. Everything from not calling people back, saying they've lost the claim. They had to send the inspector out again. They would rather send out an inspector 3 or 4 times than pay out on a claim. And I've been party to that. We have one job here, 6 months. 6 months. And they sent an inspector out 3 times. Okay? But these adjusters are literally told to just be a problem. They don't care about their clients. Okay, now I do need an open box wrench. So be aware of that information. And don't even waste your breath trying to talk down to these 5 and dimes, mom and pop dealerships. They don't care. They know what it is. All they care about is the bonus that they're going to get for selling that policy. Okay, that policy is $2,500. That agent is going to make about $250 off of it, right off the top. Why? Is that dude petty? Is he low? No. He's just doing a job. His job is to sell cars that aren't so great and to sell warranties on them to make not so great cars seem better and seem safer for the people who are buying them. Because car prices are just getting too stupid high. I'm not hiding the fact that car prices are high, folks. I can't even afford a new car. I still drive an 03 and an 09. A lot of it's personal preference, though. If I really, really wanted to try and budget for it, I could, but I would just rather spend my money on other things. A car for me is a source of transportation, and that is it. Oh, you want to see what I'm doing? Fine, you can be greedy. Let me just kick this stuff out of the way. What is that? Oh, that's all garbage. Come on. Come on, see what I'm doing. It's okay. Don't be shy. Look over here, vertical people. And Goshi Pro? Yeah. Alright, so what you are seeing, this is called the on-car brake lathe. Pretty cool tech. It's been out for a long time, and it's getting better and better every year. They have a machine for an on-car brake lathe that can cut dump truck rotors, okay? But the basic idea of cutting them on car versus taking them off and doing them on a brake lathe is we're reducing the wear to the hub surface. Disturbing that mating surface is the objective, okay? Because when you disturb it, you change how the metal wants to lay back on each other, and while the machining that you did off car will be true, the surface which it has to go to may or may not be true, and you can still have the car come back with a little bit of a vibration. Secondly is, sometimes these rotors are really stuck on, and trying to break a rotor off, you can disturb the hub bearing, and now you need a hub bearing in there. So this has been the great solution. I've been using on-car brake lathes for 10 years. I highly recommend them. They are a little pricey, but this is a Pro Cut, and Pro Cut has a really good, they have a really good way of getting them into your shop. Let's just say that. Now, why am I cutting the rotors? Golly, what is it? Last year we had a huge comet fight. People were, I don't know where this came from, but there was just an absurd amount of people. Let me go ahead and balance this thing out. So it does have a gyro in here. It's going to balance the machine to the axle. You can do this with half axles, straight axles, you name it. I'm going to get in the picture frame a little bit, but I'm going to try not to mess anything up. So yeah, I don't know what started it, but man, people were just really mad that I was cutting rotors. I cut rotors, folks. Why? Because I'm saving the customer $100 per side, okay? It would have been $200 to replace these rotors. And I've already done the measurements. These rotors got about 2 more cuts left in them. But I know that this is a high mileage vehicle. So I made it clear to the gentleman, this might be your last cut. If I get a good cut out of these, you might get 2 more cuts, but your next rear brake job, you're looking at rotors. So I just don't push rotors because of mileage. You never know. Somebody might have been shaving these rotors correctly. I mean, my 2009 has like 180,000 miles on it. I'm just now going to replace rotors on the next brake job. I do want to get to that center line as much as I can. And it looks like whoever cut it a little bit shallow, so we're going to dig in a little bit. There we go. No, don't get mad at me, girl. Okay. I'm going 5 thousandths in on each side. The machine can take it, it's fine. Going to engage the worm gear drive. This is a chip deflector and a silencer and a cooler. I don't like this yellow one. There we go, I like that one better. Now, when this rotor's cutting, you have to look really close to see it, but the teeth, the head moves like this. It has a little bit of an orbital pattern to it, really small orbit. So it's already creating a crosshatch. When you cut with an off-car brake lathe, I mean like a bench lathe, it's one straight cut. And you have to go back and you have to blend that back together. Now, you just do that with some regular sandpaper, no big deal. But this does the blending for you. If you don't brake like an idiot and somebody cuts your rotors correctly, what am I? I'm taking off 10 thousandths off the total thickness. That's a lot of cuts. Now, if you're a person who likes to slam on brakes all the time, or you drive your brake pads down to bare metal every single time, then you're going to be eating rotors. Now, obviously, I understand that some of you northern folks have good reasons for just pad slapping and rotor slapping, and that's fine. Beautiful. 9.6 millimeters. The wear limit's 8.5. We good, folks? Let me just get my noodle back here. I'm gonna make sure it cut evenly all the way around. It did. We're good. Now I can generally get these rotors cut and smooth on the first pass. Occasionally, about 1 out of 10 brake jobs I do, they need about 2 or 3 passes. But I'll know that information going in. Because again, I measure my rotor thickness in a couple of places, and I'll be like, wow, that's a lot of run out. And I generally get those, I generally know the car is going to need a lot of, the rotor's going to need a lot of attention based on the customer's concern. See, I sold these brakes on a basic inspection. I just said, hey, your brake pads are down to 4 millimeters. Now's the time to start budgeting for replacing brake pads and machining rotors. And he says, well, let's just go ahead and do it now. Fair enough. I won't stop you. Other people, they just come in and be like, my car wobbles when it brakes. It's too late. They get in there and there's like hardly any brake pad material left. Rotors are full of run out. But I always measure before I quote and be like, yep. Now the one thing, if you're an advisor and you're selling brakes, you always got to keep it in perspective for your customer, okay? Don't shame the tech. If the tech comes back to you, the mechanic comes back to you and says, hey, you know that rear brake job you did? Turns out we need rotors. Don't be upset, okay? Because in order to properly measure rotors, you got to take wheels off, and wheels don't get taken off during a free multi-point inspection. And if you start holding somebody accountable to measuring out every single rotor before they even decide to suggest brakes, you know what's going to happen? They're just going to say, well, screw you, advisor. I'm just going to be recommending pads and rotors on every job then. If you can't just explain to a customer that, hey, this happened. Or, hey, you know, we ran into this situation. But I've trained my advisors to understand. I'm going to sell the brakes, and we're going to sell it as if we can just do a machine and a pad slap. As soon as the job sells, I get the tires off, I inspect the rotors, and I let them know immediately, hey, you know that brake job? We haven't started it yet, but turns out it's going to need rotors, because now that you've authorized repair, now I've actually gone in there and double checked and ensured that this is the minimum parts that we need. Why? Because you don't pay me to do multi-points. That's why. And that's capitalism. All right, that machine's out of the way. We're not done on this side. We still got a little bit of work to do. So, I don't know, I hope you customers, if anybody's in chat, I hope that if you're a customer, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. So if you always feel like you're getting screwed over by your local mechanic shop, you know, it might just be because you have these expectations that the people who are doing the repairs, they're financially being taken care of. Well, we're not. You see, we get paid on job completion. That's it. If there's, so those, when you come in, you want those peace of mind free multi-points that are advertised in the flyer. Just understand that the person on the receiving end, we're advertising those free multi-points as a loss leader. We're advertising it with the intent that you want to buy something. I worked in a couple of shops where we actually kept a list of people who abused our multi-points. Okay, they would come in routinely about every 3 months. They'd want a multi-point. They wouldn't buy anything. They would get their washer fluid topped off. They would get their coolant topped off, and they would just complain about prices, and they would leave. They show up 3 months later. Guess what? Hey, those ball joints that we recommended, somebody else did them. Those brakes we recommended, somebody else did them. We keep notes on that stuff. So a few of those people, it's only about like 1 out of 1,000 customers it happens to. They show up and they want the free multi-point. And we just told me, like, nah, you know, we don't have any slots for you today. And the shop would be empty. Like, sorry. One of them got really offended because they didn't get the clue. A lot of them got the clue. A lot of them got the message, like, I kind of know what's happening here. Okay, I'm just cleaning out the slide pins here, and I always re-grease. And my technique for cleaning out slide pins is easy. Throw in a little bit of brake cleaner, break up the gump, shoot it out with shop air. All those people out there who brag that they can do brakes, you're like, oh, I can cut rotors and put pads on in 30 minutes. I'm the best. They're not checking your pins, and they should be checking your pins, because look at this. That's not grease anymore. That's just wax. Okay, the oil has separated. It's broken down, it's separated. And dear God, whichever God you like, do not. See, that stuff's okay. See how it's black? That's okay. Gray? That's okay. Do not use anti-seize in here. I get at least one car a year. Somebody was trying to be doing a good job, but they put that anti-seize paste in here. It'll lock up this caliper. It'll pad drag. Okay, now all that's done. This is my go-to stuff. VersaChem. Really common brand. Synthetic caliper grease. This is my jam. And my shop helps me buy this stuff. I tell them that I'm doing this on the job, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, we'll buy you a bottle of that. It's like, one of these bottles will last me a year. Some of these brake head kits, they do come with some new slide and grease in them, but I don't like it. I don't like it because it's the cheap stuff that the factory gives you. And I know that there's just not enough people out there looking for this and checking these slide pins, that I know it's just going to break down and it's going to hang up on that person. So I ask for synthetic stuff. Now I'm going to explain to you another thing that happens. See, on one of your slide pins, if you have a slide pin set up, not all brake systems have a slide pin set up, you're going to have this little rubber bushing right here, okay? And this is kind of like a spring. Sometimes they don't want to go back in nice, and that's okay. It just means that they're worn out and they should be replaced. Nobody has them on hand. You'll always wait a day. But my technique for getting them in is just kind of tap them like this. Do not cut them. If you cut them, you are not doing... then the damn thing can't do its job. There, nice and squishy. Good. Now, because you all are watching, I'm going one wheel at a time. Normally I can multitask and I'll bounce back and forth. Okay, I'll be cutting the other side while I work on this side. But we're going to take it slow so that way y'all can see what happens on a brake job. We're doing good. I still got plenty of time. We're going to finish this car tonight. And then tomorrow, we're going to be working on the engine. We just got this. We got the cylinder heads back. from the machine shop. The machine shop did a wonderful job. I'm gonna have to buy them some breakfast tacos. They did a really good job, and they cut my customer a deal. They saved him a couple $100 on machine work because they bid it high. They were like, hey, you know, maximum it's gonna cost to go through this entire cylinder head is $600, and hey, we got both cylinder heads machined, washed, painted, valves cut, and the seats fixed. $400 flat. Good work done. Like, I'm super impressed. Oh yeah, and they checked all my spring tensions and everything. They checked for the wobble. They gave me everything I wanted. I gave them the whole checklist because those are things that I normally do when I'm rebuilding engines, but I decided that it was time to retire that and just farm it out so I could do other things. And lo and behold, I'm actually saving my customer a lot of money. All right, because I was charging to do all that work. I think I was charging an extra 2 hours on top of the engine job, which was going way over the machine shop was going to do. So the machine shop pretty much just cut the price in half, saved the customer a lot of money on the top end. And that freed me up to work on some other cars and make some money elsewhere. It's also agonizing on my body to port and polish all that stuff, decarb everything. This shop just has all the equipment to do it. They assembly line it. I can't believe how dumb I was to just do that. Okay, don't need that. I need this, I need this. Got one set of brake pads done. Build up the other set of brake pads. Some of your brake pads have a little metal tab on them like this. Okay, that's called the squeaker. As the brakes get down to about 2 millimeters, they hit this tab, and that tab digs into your rotor, makes that squeaking noise. So whenever you step on your brakes, they go ee. Okay, that's an indication you need to get brakes. The brake pads need to be replaced and or inspected for component failure. Problem that happens is people go, hey, my brakes make a squeaking noise, and they have no concept of time, and they'll just drive that metal squeaker off. You know, you drive another 300 miles, hey, my brakes don't squeak anymore. Yeah. Problem mysteriously went away. Okay, now this also gets a lot of hate. I do put a little bit of love here on my brake slide hardware, but I'm not globbing it on. Just a little thin film, okay? Little thin film. If you go way too much, okay, that stuff can get between your brake pad and your rotor and cause problems with the brake pad material. So we're talking just a little bit. No globs. If it's a glob, it's way too much. A little thinness. That's all we're doing. And we're not trying to create a we're not trying to do this to say like, oh, this is going to help the brake pads, or this is going to help the brake pads slide. No, that's not the objective. Is We want to just inhibit corrosion. That's all. We're just putting that little bit of barrier on there for corrosion purposes. Okay, and we'll put the squeaker on the inside. That's where they like to go. The other thing I like to do too, this is just a northern thing, but I brought it down to the south, is right up here in the piston. Again, just going to work in some of this paste. Because this piston interior will hold moisture and it'll rust from the inside out eventually. Now that doesn't happen too much down here in the south. We do have some snowbirds. They go up north, they get their rust, they come down here, and I fix their rust. So if you get a newer vehicle, maybe you just get a used vehicle, if you just get any vehicle and you want to do a service to yourself, this is one of the fun little things that you can start learning how to do, is you can protect your components. Take apart your calipers, just put this stuff on there, really thin coat. Really thin coat. And what's nice about it is, because it's blue, if it looks dark blue, it's too much. It should just almost have like a little clear blue tinge to it. Snug in a turn. Yeah. How we doing, folks? How we doing, folks? Hey, 125 people, 44 thumbs. I like it. Wonder how many thumbs down I've gotten so far. I'm always interested in that, but you know, the boob tube, YouTube, they don't let me see that. They don't let you see it. And that kind of sucks. How am I supposed to determine if I'm making good content for y'all if I don't get to see how many people are disappointed? I guess you'll just have to say it in chat. This is called a magazine socket. It's perfect for these acorn nuts. Comes in two flavors, 19 millimeter and 21 millimeter. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Make sure everyone's in frame? Yeah, everyone's in frame. If you do have one of these brake lathes, these on-car brake lathes at your shop, some important notes is, one, do not impact these lug nuts on. Hand thread them all the way down by hand first. Secondly is, this is a really common thing that I see. People will say, oh, the on-car brake lathe, it's horrible, it always cuts wrong. When I watch them cut, I'll ask them, I says, where's your lug nuts at? They have 2 or 3 on there. They'd be like, that's enough to hold it. So your bad cuts are contributed to your bad training. Lack of training. And we don't have to get these too stinking tight. Okay, 30 foot-pounds is enough. And if you've been wrenching long enough, you can kind of just feel that with your calibrated pythons. Okay, the whole cutting head assembly goes upside down. I don't know if anybody's ever used one of these on-car brake lathes, but you will always get told, do not tighten these nuts, because these jam nuts have to go in a pre-measured location. That is very true. I have modified my on-car brake lathe so that those jam nuts will not move, because I drilled a 3/8 hole through the nut and the shaft, and I threw a pin in there. I threw a roll pin in there. They don't move anymore. That, and because this handle sucks. I've been doing that for 10 years. ProCut put it on all their new versions after that. The little guy that comes, the guy that comes here and services our machine every 6 months and checks it out, he was all like, yeah, I took photos of that and sent it up. He says, it's on all the new models. You know, that was like 8 years ago he told me that. I thought it was hilarious. Open up our cutting teeth a little bit, lock them in. Now there are measurements up here that you can read, but I can't see them because it's dark. And there's enough light bouncing off the pavement, but I can see just fine. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just running down the cutting teeth until they just kiss the rotor. And this isn't precision machining, by the way. This is better than good enough machining. So we're creating a 0 point, and then I'm backing it off by about 2.5 thousandths. Now I'm gonna walk it in. Set my teeth cut, and my first pass is going to be 5 thousandths on each side. hang out and inspect it for a second. Yeah, I thought we had a misfire. Okay. No problem. Slight misfire there. Let's fix that right now. Back it off. Yeah. There we go. All right. Little operator failure there. Well, open up. Open up. I gotta fix this inside cut because the last person who cut these rotors didn't go far enough. Really want to get that last little bit. There we go. Looking good, looking good. So if you didn't hear it through the microphone, you probably heard the rotor singing. Just a bit of a harmonic, and that's the point of this chip deflector right here. I think these chip deflectors are kind of worn out. They've lost their tension. So I just picked up a brake pad and I'm just going to push it against the rotor, and that's going to fix that singing noise. We don't want that harmonic because that harmonic is going to cause a miscut. Good. Rotor looks good. I'm happy. No tool is perfect. No machine is perfect. Understanding its uses and operations, you can get the best out of everything. So and here's my little guides. Looking good. I want to take some extra measurements on this one just because we had that little incident. I want to make sure that it didn't cut a wobble in it. Figure it out now or pay for it later. And you know, let's do this in inches, so I can call it out in thousandths. Huh? 3. And if you want to know how many measurements I'm going to do, I just go by the stud. So it's got 5 studs. It gets 5 measurements, 1 on each stud. Uh-oh. Am I still zeroed out? I'm still zeroed out. All right. 388. Oh. We might be cutting this one again, folks. Check my measurements again. $83. It's 83, 85. Yep. Right here. There's a high spot. That's going to cause a pulsation. Let's make sure that we're set up on this correctly. Yeah. Set up for 5x100. We still got plenty of meat to work with. We just got to do a light little skim. One more pass. Okay, I think I see the problem with my operation here. Okay. I'm just kind of re-zeroing out my machine head. Just to make sure that everything is functioning correctly. It could just be the rotor itself might have a hot spot in it that affected my cut, or it could be operator error. And this is how I'm ruling it out. All right, got a good balance. And then yeah, I can hear it. I can just hear it as the teeth bounces on and off. That sucks. I set my cut for 1,000 on each side. See what happens. There we go. Oh, sorry, I grabbed my lapel thinking it was a flashlight. If you're doing this pad technique that I'm doing right now, try and do it from the top so your hand doesn't get full of metal shavings. or wear gloves at the very least. It's 10-6. Get our measuring stick here. Nicely zeroed out. Yeah, it even feels better. Beautiful. Yep. Definitely happy. Woo-wee. No. I'm tired. Been up too long. I'm gonna play some Mario Kart tonight. And if any of y'all are Mario Kart players, because I played Mario Kart 8, email me your Switch handle. We can have a Mario Kart party. Big fan of that game. if you put it in the chat, I may not see it. So, like I said, go to my main channel page, click on the About, you'll find my email, and tell me what your Nintendo Switch ID is, and send you a friend request. Or maybe I'll break. I've been getting into some older games for nostalgia. I've been wanting to start up another Factorio run. I love Factorio. It's just a good chill game for me. So if you missed it in the other acts, when we were on the other side, I cleaned these slide pins up, so that's what I'm doing right now. The oil and the wax is separated just through use. It's time to get changed out. I'm going to change out this old stuff with synthetic that won't separate like this, and the synthetic will last forever. Well, not forever, but a lot longer than this stuff. The companies use this stuff because it's cheap, and they just put the responsibility of replacing it every brake job on the new technician, or on the person who's servicing the brakes. You see how that is black, and then we got the white stuff. It's because those two parts are separated. They need to be blended together to make it look like that. That's why I don't like it. Easiest way to clean out these boots: pocket screwdriver, roll and scrape, flip it over, roll and scrape to get the other one. We're done. Now there's still going to be some residual stuff here inside the caliper bracket, so let's hit it with some brake parts cleaner. Warm it up. Stick a screwdriver in there. Slosh it around. Don't go digging too much, okay? Because you don't want to scratch anything up in there and create a burr that's going to hurt it. We just want to help that brake cleaner bust up that stuff. Then we're going to come back by with some shop air, blow it all out. That's it. I'm not sure why the practice of greasing up slide pins went away, but it seems to have faded away. Now the slide pin that doesn't have the rubber spring on it, I like to use that to just do a gentle chase, kind of pre-lube it up a little bit. These boots do have a direction, so these are Subaru boots that may not look like your boots, but it's got kind of this chunkier end. That's going to go towards the bracket. And again, that rubber grommet doesn't always want to be your friend and go in. That's not a problem. Okay. We just play best out of 3. Look at that. Goes right in. Not a problem. Exercise that joint really good. Let's compress that piston first. Okay, so this is, again, something I just started doing from when I was in Michigan. Okay, we like to use that synthetic paste and just kind of wipe the inside of those cups. We're not looking to slather stuff in there because it is eventually going to kind of drool out of there. So we're just looking to just put a thin little coat, just to keep those cups from rusting from the inside out. Because some companies use aluminum in there, some use like an iron magnesium. You always find rust in there. That's my point. Some people like to put the grease on the tips of the brakes. I don't. I like to just put a very, very light, thin coat, just like that, right onto the hardware itself. We don't want to put blobs. Hardware is being a little feisty. There we go. I got a little bit on the rotor, so just turn the rotor, wipe it off. So that's why when I'm applying it from the inside out, not the outside in, so any blobs just get kind of left on the outside. So the idea of this is not to have it as a lubricant for the pads to slide on, but it is there to be a rust inhibitor so the pads do not hang up on the hardware. We got one brake pad has a squeaker on it. We talked about the squeaker on the other side, so I won't talk about it again. Those always go on the inside pad unless your directions specify otherwise. See here, I think last time I talked about cutting rotors. So I know that a lot of DIYers like to just do pads and rotors. On Subarus specifically, Subaru has a really nice blend of iron in their rotors that I like a lot. And when you get the aftermarket rotors, you get a lot more aluminum in them. And those are straight up just throwaway rotors. Once you go aftermarket rotor, you just throw them away after every brake job. But these OEM rotors, you can get a lot of cuts out of them. So if you're a DIYer and you want your rotors turned, there's still some auto parts store that do that for you. Oh, I got these locked up already. Yeah. So there's still some auto parts stores out there that will cut your rotors, and most shops that are independent have a off-car brake lathe. They just have them from the back in the day. They're still sitting in a corner. They still use it. And you can drop off rotors and just wait in the lobby, and somebody will cut them for you. When I was a driveway tech, I did that for years. I would just take rotors off, go to the corner garage, ask them to cut rotors. They did the same thing for struts and springs. So if you got a strut and spring setup, which is a McPherson strut setup, yeah, they wouldn't charge me but $50 a set, and even cheaper if I brought in 4. So there was times I'd be doing 4 struts, and I would just walk on over and be like, "Hey, you guys change these struts and springs up, or change these struts out for me?" And I would just barter with them right there, and I says, "How's $80 cash?" They'll get it done, yeah. Just bill that to the customer. Now, why did I want them to do it versus me doing it in a driveway? Well, because at the time, I didn't have the nice spring compressor. All I had was those suicide spring compressors, the ones where you put a clamp on each side. Don't use those. Those are so fucking dangerous. I eventually saved up enough money to where I got the nice wall mount one. It's about $800. All right, we're just going to run these down. We'll torque them. Hold your horses. Just running a little slow. Ooh. I'm just putting lug nuts on the other side, and then we're going to let the car down and we're going to torque up some lug nuts. Then after this, we got to do a belt on the engine. That'll be simple. We should have already been done, but I had to cut that rotor again. But hey, we check our work. Because not checking our work is cheating the customer. All right. Okay, lift is coming down. Hey, I blew my window departure by 10 minutes. Still stuck here. Leave my 1/2-inch torque wrench on the other side of the shop. Yes, I did. Pump the brakes for safety. I think everyone in their life, at least one. Well, if you do brakes regularly, I think everyone has a story where they accidentally forgot to pump the brakes before they moved the car, and they didn't have any brake pressure, or they didn't have any stopping power for a little while, and it made them buy some new pants that day. I think everyone should have a good shot of the engine bay right there. Yeah. Woo! I think vertical stream's got a good shot. GoPro doesn't have a good shot, so GoPro give the GoPro the better shot. Booyah. Favoritism always goes towards the GoPro. Sorry, vertical stream. But if you guys are ever around and you see the vertical stream up, always know that I got a GoPro going up. GoPro's got better resolution, better sound. I just know that some of you folks just like that vertical stuff. I can't get you away from it. Vertical for life, right? Put that cabin air filter up there so I don't forget her. Dirty cabin filter, didn't want to buy one, that's okay. They took care of the brakes and that was safety. Maybe they know how to do their own cabin filter. Who knows? Where's my 14? You know, that's really annoying because I bought extra 14s just because I kept misplacing them. Okay, good. This one does have This one does have a key lock, so we got a tensioner dead center right on top on this car. These belts are easy, by the way. Always use a 6-point, never use a 12-point. Okay. And I'm going to slide a 3mm Allen key in there to hold that tensioner. Not all these tensioners have that, okay? Belt comes off. Always make sure you take a drawing of your belt. So you take it off, you know how to put it back on correctly. Then we're going to take our new belt and we're going to string it up like that with our new one to make sure it's the same size and has the same number of ribs, because I guarantee you, if you've worked in a shop, somebody's giving you the wrong belt. Some of these cars can have a couple different engines. Sometimes these part centers, they put parts in the wrong place, and when they're going to grab a part, they just get a number that says grab it from bin this, bin ABC 123, and they go, yeah, I see it, there it is. And if they're in a rush, sometimes they forget to check that part number. We're all guilty of doing something like that. It's easy to make fun of the parts counter people. Just don't make it a habit. Because at the end of the day, we still need them to do the job. They're not going away. Alright, so she slides on just okay. We're going to make sure she's in all the ribs. correctly. Because if it's not in a rig correctly, it's going to shred. Take our adjuster tool out. It's good. We recheck, make sure it didn't shift. It's good. All right, now it's time to give our customer a courtesy battery cleaning. This isn't mandatory in my shop, but I like to do it in any case whenever I see it like this, because, you know, people don't understand how important it is to have clean batteries. So look at that hot mess. Okay, that is some hot mess right there. GoPro, I guess we'll put you here. And you just hang out somewhere for 2 minutes, GoPro. How about right here? Oh yeah, you guys are good right there. Fantastic. Let's take care of that. Now, what do we use to take care of that? Well, we got the secret sauce. Okay. I know you all love Coca-Cola. And where's my baking soda guys with their teapots? You guys love your boiling water, right? Well, there's no hot water dispenser around me. I don't own a tea kettle, even though I do like tea. And y'all hate it when you see the secret sauce, which is just acid neutralizer, folks. Understand, it's just acid neutralizer. So we're going to do live battery cleaning. Now, the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be disconnecting these terminals. Why am I not disconnecting the terminals? It's because I didn't get authorization to disconnect it. All right, if I disconnect this terminal, it could reset the throttle body learning. It could reset the vehicle's ability to just drive correctly, because there should be a proper relearn procedure with this. So, for starters, we are going to put our secret sauce on here. Little acid neutralizer, it's safe. Let it do its job, let it soak. Then we'll just pour some regular water, wash it off. Okay, it's all going onto my stall floor. It's fine. They're closing down the shop behind me, so let's bring in the backup light, huh? Nah, you guys can see just fine. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just me. I'm blind. I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you right now. If you got earbuds in or you got your volume cranked up, take your earbuds out or turn your volume down. This shit's going to get loud, but it's awesome. Okay? It's a little tool made by Milton. It's a little siphon one. I'm just going to put it in regular water. Okay? If it's safe for the hand, it's safe for the car. That's what I say. This is just water, okay? And because the cameras are close, that's why I'm cupping it with this drag. Would you look at that? So nice, so pretty. We're not done yet. Volume down. Some regular air. And where is the track? There it is. Little brake cleaner. This goes faster when I'm not explaining every step. I'm not too sure what this crummy stuff is here. That might be some old Noax that was left on there. Yeah, that's all that really looks like. That Noax can be pretty tough stuff to clean off because it's really, really good at inhibiting all that garbage. But again, he's not paying for this, but I felt like this guy was just trying to get what safety stuff he needed done. I just really want to make sure that he doesn't lose his battery terminal connector, doesn't lose his battery, because that could just really agitate him. The other reason why I like doing this is sometimes people just need a win. You ever felt like that, where you're just having a really down day and you're like, I just need a win? So this is just a nice little gratuity to be like, hey, thanks for coming in. We know you had a couple of other things that should have been done, but you got what you needed to get done. I hope to see you back. By the way, you know that battery terminal cleaning service? You really needed to get it done. Well, you know, we washed it off for you, hooked it up. And this is just some Noax that we're putting on there. That's what it is, dielectric grease. I like the stuff by CRC that comes in this squeezy can. It's a little bit more expensive, but if you buy a case of it, it's better. Did we get it all? Yeah, I think we got everything right there. And as the battery warms up, it's gonna settle down and make a nice little seal. Let's go ahead and check out chat, see how chat's doing. I'm gonna check out vertical stream cat. David Olson, oh yeah, the dielectric grease. Matt says, put it on the outside and make it look like you did it right. Well, you just saw me rub it on there. David's asking, yeah, mic probably turned off. Let me see if I can reset the mic up. That should fix it. See here, Matt says, drain the compressor. And you have a lot of shit talk there, man. Apparently you weren't really listening, were you? Were you, Matt? No, because Matt is a child that likes to just talk crap. See, this is a siphon gun. Let me just shame you. See, you stick it into a pail of cleaning solution. Ooh. Then you pull the trigger and you get a mist out. So, why don't you just go cry a story? Alright, so Matt's just one of those haters. I see him in there just having a big old troll fest. So we'll just put him in timeout. Alright, well, y'all are having your fun little talking here. Thanks very much for joining in. I will see you all in another stream, probably another day. We got a big engine to do, so I hope to see you for that. Hi, you got here fast.